Good day, and welcome to another episode of Jimmy Fix It.
I'm going to do preventative maintenance on this today. I'm already doing the preventative maintenance on the hot water heater, so while I've got it down, I'll go ahead and do this also. And for the most part, all you need to do is take the cover off, clean out the valves. Right now this is in bypass mode, so the valve is shut. So all the water that comes into the house goes right back out through the house plumbing. It's bypassing these two lines, which is part of the softener. So that way I can take this apart, give it a good cleaning, get all this back together. But I need to make sure there's no plugs anywhere in my drain line, because I have a feeling that's why I got that salt water taste, or salty water coming through my system, is either it didn't drain properly, or my regeneration time was set incorrectly, and I was using my water during the time of regeneration, which will siphon in to the house supply, that brine. Okay, so on the water softener, what we're going to do is the water's in bypass already, so it's separated this machine from the house water. What I'm going to do is I need to take off the cover. Comes up like that, and it's basically got some instructions, because what I'm going to end up doing is I need to take and work over this nozzle and venturi. I want to make sure that that's clean, so I'm not having any problems with it not siphoning properly. So I'll go through and do that first. But this is basically a Kenmore water softener. It's the Ultra Soft 275, and I haven't done any preventative maintenance on this since I've got it, so it's probably due. What I'll probably do also is, it looks like that gear has some grease on it, so I'll probably put a little bit more grease on there. It looks pretty dry, just to make sure that that actuates properly. Basically, you just open up this connector, and that does look pretty rusty looking, so I will have to go through and clean this out. So what I'm going to do is I will take this apart, and I'll switch over to the chest cam, so that way I can do that with both hands. And they said that if water is existing in there, which it does not look like it is, but if there was water in here, I would probably have an issue with it not draining properly. So I don't think the draining is the issue, but I'll still take this connector off and make sure that the valve inside there is clean and looks good. Okay, let me switch over to the chest cam, and I'll get started on that. Okay, chest cam is on, or my chesty, so that way I've got both hands available. So let me get a towel so I have something to put this on. So basically what I'm going to do is just remove the components, hopefully keep them in the order in which I take them out. And it does look pretty bad in there, so I have a feeling this definitely did need some cleaning. You notice all the kind of yellowish iron sediments. Filter looks about the same. So what I'll have to do is I'll run that through some warm soapy water and get that cleaned out. Get that diaphragm out. I need my little pick tool. And take out this little diaphragm. Okay. There's a washer screen here. Take that little guy out too. And there we are. So that's the complete components. I have a little metal filter right there metal screen, a large diaphragm, the rubber diaphragm which goes on top, a small hole. This has some numbers on it I can't read. My eyesight's not so good. The disc here, which has a lot of that crud on there. The main filter. The washer, which also has crud on it. The O-ring. And then the cap. So I will go ahead and put this all in some soapy water, get it all cleaned up, and then I'll be back for the reassembly. Now I'm going to get my warm water for the cleaning of that. Of course, I'm in the process of cleaning out my hot water tank, so there's an easy supply of warm water. Okay. Clean these up real quick. Shouldn't take too much. It doesn't look like there's any huge amounts of sediment. It's just kind of a little bit of a rust or mud look to it. And this is all coming from city water. I'm not on well. So my city water does not appear to be as clean as I thought it was. Or it has a lot of iron content, and that's what's coming through. I'm going to do these guys individually because I'm not exactly sure which one goes where. And that's why I do them separately. So when I lose the little buggers, I'm not mixing them both up. Come here, little bastard. Bugger. Okay, those guys are all cleaned. Now let's rinse them out with cold water. Okay. That filter looks much better. You can actually see through it now. Okay. So with those guys done, I'll go ahead and put these back in. So filter goes in. Put the rubber diaphragm in. That guy in. And the disc. The other rubber diaphragm. Don't need the leaf. The filter. The nice thing is these all have keys. The disc, the O-ring, and then the cap. That's it. So now I'm going to check my drain plug. Just pull the clip, connector comes out, looks good. Put it back in, clip it back on. That's it. So now I basically just, once I get the water back on, I'll hook this up to the water supply and run it through a regen cycle to make sure that everything flushes like it should. Okay, got the lid all cleaned. I'll go ahead and get it put back on. Those two back connectors in first. And there we go. Plug it in. Turn on the main water. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I get the time set here. Wasn't too bad off. I'm going to leave it in bypass for now because I'm working on draining the hot water heater. Once it's done and I know I'm not going to need water for a while, then I'll go ahead and tell it to do a recharge. Hardness of 20, I think that's what I had it at last time. Recharge time, I want it at 2 a.m.
I'm going to go ahead and restart this on a recharge manually. Okay, so now it's going to do a fill. You see water is flowing in there. I had to clear that little float there. It was filled up with salt water so it wouldn't move. So we'll see if it actually rises now. Now this unit is set at 4, which is where the salt level is, so my guess is the water level should come up to that 4. And it does look like the float is rising. And you can hear the salt pellets actually shifting as the water level rises. A good sign that I don't have any issues with any salt that crystallized and has a salt dam, so the pellets are able to shift and get down to the bottom into that water. You can actually see the salt pellets shifting. You see the water level is almost getting up to that 4 mark. Now it's starting to fill the brine. Okay, so it looks like it's filling the brine. I'll let this go for, looks like it wants 132 minutes. And the water level's just sitting there. So it's going to soak all that up. It is currently in recharge mode. It says brine. Looks like that unit is slowly going down, or is down at the bottom already. Okay, I'll take a quick check outside, and you'll see that it is flowing water. So that's rinsing out all the brine, and it is very salty. So at this point, I cannot turn on any water. This is where I think I did the mistake, as it was in this process, and I turned the water on, and it siphoned that water into the house water supply. Because my water last night was very, very salty. So I'll let this finish. I'll probably check it in about 30 minutes and see where it's at. Looks like it's still on brine recharge. It hasn't refilled the tank, so it basically did its charge that it needed to get the brine in the canister. And it's still draining, so we got another 66 minutes. So still on brine recharge. Water level is still down. And you can see the light there, the drain is still flowing. So it's still draining the brine. So it's still recharging, still has brine. Looks like we're at 14.5 minutes to go. No change on that level. And of course, this guy is still draining. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes since the last time we checked on this, when it said it had 14 left. Sounds more active. And it looks like it's doing a recharge rinse. So it's doing the rinse cycle right now. That's not being affected. Looks like primarily it's flowing a lot of water out of the discharge pipe. That's flowing pretty good. So chances are it's going through the process of flushing out the resin container. Remember, just wait here. It says it's got 20 some seconds, so we'll see here. Find a good spot for this guy. And it's done. Okay, so I'll put this back together. All right, it's at 4, or at 4, good. And I guess I'll go ahead and turn on the regular water. So I'll just run the cold water here. It does feel soft, but I'll let it go for a good couple minutes to make sure it doesn't taste funny. Or at least doesn't taste severely salty like it did. Another thing, I guess I'll see if that meter is working properly. Or, well, that is flowing water. This should say it is flowing. And it does. So I at least know that works. And that tastes just fine. So, thank you for watching, and hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you can catch the other videos that I produce. Alright, thank you, and have a great day.